All right, here we are at the fourth component of the characteristics of a great dog, what it takes to make or have a great dog. So, a lot of people have suggested they think they know what number 4 is, but they said, pretty sure they thought it was going to be patience. Well, that's not correct. Patience is really not that big a deal. Now, not being angry is, not getting frustrated is. Maybe that's a component of patience, but if you have the skill and the procedure, it doesn't require that much patience. It just requires going through. But before we get started on that, I got this package in the mail the other day from my friend Mike Pinwood Retrievers in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It's quite a, as you can see, quite a stylish hat. And Mike is a real friend from long ago, and he is a fellow that we get to train. If we get a really nice young dog that we want to bring along just right, we send it up to Mike, and he takes that puppy and starts it out and with my method. It's really a remarkable what a good job he does. So we can put this puppy there and not worry about it. Puts it in his house. He does the whole thing, and when we get it back, it's done right. So anyway, I've got a new hat. It's not quite like this hat, but it's a good hat. So actually what today's message is, number 4, is practice. Now, I've talked about practice plenty of times, but I don't think I did a very good job of really explaining what practice is. So that's what I'm going to try to make clear. What people do is they'll introduce a new concept to a dog and work at it and maybe have some trial and error, and finally the little dog gets it. And as soon as they get it, they say, oh, finally. And they go off to the next new topic and struggle with that. Meanwhile, they didn't practice. They just taught the lesson and just barely got through it, and then off they go to the next thing. That's not, to me, that's not practicing. Practicing starts once you've taught the lesson and they understand. Then the repetition of that lesson, that's practice. I was doing a seminar out in somewhere, I think it was Pennsylvania, and I said, I was talking about practice, and I said, is there anybody here that plays a musical instrument? And this lady raised her hand right away. Oh yeah. What instrument do you play? She said, well, I play the violin. And I said, oh, is like a hobbyist? No, I'm in the Philadelphia Philharmonic. I said, wow, you do play the violin. And I said, well, how much do you practice a day? Well, she said, I actually practice all day. But in the morning, to start with, I play the scales. I practice the scales for 2 hours every morning. Now that is practice, where you are already very good at something, but you keep doing it and hone it in and make it absolutely perfect. I'm just curious, and I don't know the answer to this, but Stephen Curry, one of the best free shooters in professional basketball, I wonder how many free throws a day he shoots to stay in practice so that when the game comes, he can't miss. some of these top basketball players practice so much on certain shots, they can't miss. They try to miss to practice so somebody else can practice rebounds. They can't even get themselves to miss. So that's practice. So one of the things that I've done personally, practicing in marking with young dogs, is I've taken a certain mark and thrown it, and maybe used a fire drill, thrown multiple times to get them so they know exactly where it is. And then I've taken that same mark and repeated it multiple times, maybe 6, 7, or 8 times. And I can tell you that if I'm throwing that mark and I watch the dog coming out, the first time he's pretty eager, but he's looking, and then the second time he's a little more confident, and by the third or fourth time they're just going in there and spearing that mark. They are totally aware where it is. Their whole attitude is positive. They have all kinds of confidence, and it's a beautiful thing. So now if you can do that a lot and develop that kind of confidence and focus, which only comes from practice, you can start to develop a really superb marker. So for number 4, and I've convinced myself of this over the years, number 4 is practice. And that to me means once you teach a new topic, that you take that subject, that specific part of a test or a drill, and do it multiple times, each time developing more and more confidence, more and more skill. And when you're done, you know your dog is going to do it under pressure in competition. I've seen people, for instance, go to an event, and let's say their young dog has never had a pheasant. So they rush around, they get a pheasant, and they throw the pheasant a time or two, and the dog picks it up, and they think, oh, he's done with that. Well, maybe then in the trial the pheasant isn't quite dead. Oh, they're not aware of that because they haven't practiced that part of it. There's so many things, and I could list them, 100 of them, that you could practice if you just took your time and thought about what would be a different cast, different precision casting that you could practice and work on. So every dog that is successful learns to practice. And if you want your dog to be better in any specific thing, you got to practice it. You teach it, you rehearse it, and then you practice over and over until you're positive the dog, under any circumstances, can do it perfectly. So that is number 4, and keep an eye out for number 5. It'll be coming fast. So thanks for watching, and I'm so happy that there's so much interest in this topic. There's 4 more after this one. So see ya.